Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Edward Otto Zelke, and let's queer up the USA view. NPR changed his mind to tell Ari Shapiro okay to not skip Pride. National Public Radio, NPR, has found itself at the center of controversy after an embarrassing email snafu regarding longtime gay host Ari Shapiro. Initially, NPR's managing editor for standards and practices, Tony Cavan, advised Shapiro to skip a corporate Pride event, citing the network's ethics handbook, which discourages appearances at private industry functions. This guidance, however, was mistakenly sent to a broader group of NPR editorial staff. The email said, quote, "The guidance in our ethics handbook is to avoid appearances at private industry or corporate functions. Because this is a closed corporate event, I think it would be best to politely decline," end quote. Shapiro, known for his leadership as co-host of NPR's All Things Considered, immediately questioned this recommendation. He pointed out that he had previously spoken at Pride events with management's approval. He also highlighted the blunder of sending the message to the entire editorial group instead of directing directly to him. This incident comes amid heightened threats from conservative lawmakers to cut funding for NPR, which has faced pressure since the Trump administration and more recently within the introduction of the Defund Government-Sponsored Propaganda Act by Senator Mike Lee. Ari Shapiro has been with NPR since 2001, covering major stories across the nation. Well, it's so bizarre to get I can't imagine being a worker and then getting an email that, reading this email and then, looking to the executive or, your leaders of of NPR and saying, what are we going to do? And they're just kind of like, oh, you could just kind of pick and choose. And that's what it kind of feels like to me. And it's like, we all need to start sticking together with this. And like, if you start caving in at the top like that, it just sends a really bad message.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so sad.
Well, in NPR, I don't listen to NPR because I'm not that old. Sorry. But, it's the truth. Most older people listen to NPR. Sorry, don't look at me like that, Scott. So, that they're didn't get a lot of funding that they really needed. They have been struggling. This is really not the way that you help that situation at all, and I've been, I don't know if you guys have if this has happened to you. I've pressed reply to all by mistake sometimes, you know what I mean? And thank goodness it was never anything horrible. But look, this information was not meant to be sent to everybody in the editorial team, and it was, and it really flagrantly said what your stance was on him coming to these events that he has gone to for many years in the past. He has been at this place. He looks great for his age. He's been there for 20 years.
Yeah. Now, you saw just a couple days ago they defunded Radio Marti and TV TV Marti. Mm-hmm. The Cuban community in Miami didn't say a word. There was a point, again, in the early 80s when I was a kid, where that would have been unheard of. And you're seeing people cave, and just because it's Trump saying to do it, they're okay with it. NPR and PBS will be defunded.
Wow. And again, that's fear. It's
right.
fear because they don't know what's next, right? Well, they don't want them to come after them directly.
And you see that there's so many organizations that are too reliant on government funding.
Exactly. It's true. Like, for instance, our organization was used to be funded federally, and locally too. Mm-hmm. But, we had to, think outside the box, and we had to become creative and think, how are we going to raise funds differently and strategize and stuff, and it's uncertain. But, I've been seeing a lot of corporate companies, and I've been seeing a lot of people still, rallying around the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah. We just got to lock in with them, at this point.
But we should all recognize it's coming.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I don't think a lot of the LGBT service groups that are in South Florida now will still be here in a year, because as their government funding is pulled at every single level, that
no, it's true.
Absolutely going to happen. There. I won't name the names. In my head, I can think of the ones, the smaller ones the newer ones,
Yeah.
the people who are reliant on government
funding
to run their health programs or their homeless programs, that money's gone. Like, it might be called frozen at this moment.
But it's not coming back.
It's not coming back.
It's not thawing out, baby.
And so, right. And so that's what everybody just sort of has to start. And that's where, the nonprofit organizations need to work together a little bit more and say, do we really need 27 of us? How do we still band together?
Right.
And,
point.
NPR, PBS, they're going to have to look at other ways of raising money, and it's going to be difficult.
Wow.
And we're just the community to do it because, we're very crafty and we get ourselves, out of these situations and we come up with a whole new game plan.
Right.
And I'm not worried at all.
I mean, look at some of these prides, right? That they had these corporate sponsors that pulled out, or they did not align with their morals and laurels. So they were like, okay, we're going to get this money on our own. You know what I mean? Like, screw big name, Mr. whatever. I'm going to go and raise the money ourselves, and we're going to have this pride.
There are other ways to do it. It's just that you're going to,
not
all
easy.
of us are going to have to start thinking out of the box, right? And it's not going to be easy.
No, it's
not going to be easy.
Wow, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the